Okay, now we got Kaya. Kaya has a message to all of these women out here who look past the working class men and who only have eyes for, the ballers and whatnot. So we thought that this was pretty good content for the channel. Um, for anyone who doesn't know, Kaya is a hip hop star from Jesus. Kaya at this point is like three generations ago. At this point,
Yeah, that's
um,
the '90s, bro.
she,
Shit, that was the
yeah,
'90s.
yeah, and she has the song "My Neck, My Back," which is by far her most famous song. Um, you know, pretty much that's the pretty much the greatest song credit to her name. I don't really know anything outside of that even amounts to something close to what she did with that song. But she has a message out there for all of the women who look past the working class men. And we'll talk about what she had to say here. Because this is content that is aligned with the kind of stuff that we like to talk about on this channel. So why not? So this is Kaya with the public service announcement to all women who look past the working men in the world.
Shit. Where the real granddaddies at? Y'all stop acting like y'all don't see them niggas working on the side of the road. Take them niggas a motherfucking basket of chicken, hoe. Act like you see that hard working nigga with that goddamn work motherfucking uniform on. Working nigga, bitch. Go by the fire department and drop off some biscuits, bitch. I don't appreciate them niggas making 30,000 a year. You want these fuck niggas that ain't getting you nothing but dick and disease. Keep it up. I'm gonna take my hat off to the hard-working middle class men out there working. Catch him on his lunch break, baby. And on Friday, he gonna make sure you got what you need. That was my daddy and granddaddy. Maybe I'm just reminiscing because ain't no more daddies like that no more. Everybody want to be a drug dealer and a rapper. Nobody don't want to be no worker, work hard hand with hard helmet wearing that worker. You niggas, but we like them boys, men, real man. Y'all don't give him no respect. He don't want a six pack and some money to get back and forth to work. But he gonna make sure that bills paid and gonna put that dick on you. And gonna be happy when you could go in there and give him that steak and motherfucking mashed potato. Maybe he has that. You bitches better learn how to get your family back in order. Yeah, go to let's talk.
Hell
You
no.
remember when mama used to fry that chicken in that Tupperware bowl and put that goddamn paper towel in it and take that bowl up there to daddy job? I do. We got that check on Friday. Baby, everybody had money. The whole house was happy because daddy was home. You bitches ain't scared of daddy at your house. Study want to chase after these niggas, don't give no fuck about you, and want to look down at a real nigga. Y'all better cut that shit out. You gonna be by yourself, bitch. You getting old. You getting old, bitch. All that play shit was in your 19s and 20s, bitch. Get real with yourself.
Wow. Great PSA, by the way. That blows. What's her name? Glorilla's PSA out the water.
Oh boy, yeah. So what did you have? What do you think about that?
I think it's great, man. I think it's awesome. And the Kaya supporters, uh, most likely were kind of already on this page, but she has a wide range of people who listen to her. So, and what I mean by listen to her, she doesn't actively come out with music now. She talks. She's a talking person. So she'll be either on IG. I think I seen her on like some type of online show she has. So people check in on what she has to say, and she addresses more of the what's a good way of saying this? She talks to the streets. Talk to the streets. And so there's women who sign up for street life and street talk, and Kaya talks that. And so, but Kaya is more of a balanced street person, if you will. So she knows the streets, but at the same time, she uses common sense. And so there's not really a fall off. So it's not really a fall off. No. So with made me lose my train of thought. Damn rude people. What's that Kai? Oh yeah. So people needed to hear this. So she reached the people that are just in the Brittany Renner field, and she reached the women that are on the fringe that play this game. And so by just her saying this to go, hey ladies, it's okay to deal with an average man. I feel like this is a message that we need more of coming from Black women. Coming from the average man, it sounds average and it sounds like you're advocating for yourself, which you are, but at the same time, it sounds like, of course you would say that you're average as hell. So, but yeah, but at least a woman saying it, that a woman that these women out here respect, at least her adding her voice to the conversation in this direction, advocating for the average man, I'm all for it. And so that's the initial thoughts there. How do you feel about this one, sir? Do you agree with Miss Khia here?
Yeah, I like it. I like what she said. And I think it's good that it came from somebody who came from the hip hop space. Because, in my personal opinion, I believe that hip hop is the greatest contributing factor to what I call hypergamy. Um, I think hip hop as music, in terms of its messaging, from a cultural standpoint, is what is most responsible for creating this disconnect between the value of what a man earns and how much money he has and what that grants him access to in terms of caliber of woman and relationships. I think the messaging in hip hop music in particular is what has most greatly contributed to this issue. Like, I'm on record. I've said on this channel before, and I'll say it again here. I don't think I think that it is I think that it is every person's responsibility to come to the table adequately prepared in whatever way that means for being able to responsibly uphold your end of the bargain in terms of what you bring to the table with relationships or however you deal with other people and that kind of stuff. I'll speak from a perspective. I'm a man, so I'll speak from a man's perspective. I've always believed that as a man, it's your responsibility to, if you're going to be out here dating women and getting with women and all of this kind of stuff, you should, for lack of a better way to express it, have your shit together. Don't be a
Mhm.
guy. Don't be a guy who is out here on a struggle bus. Don't be broke. You have to be making money. You have to be earning a consistent income. Preferably, you have to have certain other things like a roof over your head and paying your own bills. I think that as a man, it's your responsibility to come to the table with those various things if you're going to be out here successfully dealing with women and successfully dating. Now, that's not to say it's supposed to, that's not to say that women are supposed to hold a man's feet to the fire for that. I'm saying that as a man, you should, for yourself, take on the responsibility of coming to the table with those things in hand if you're going to be out here successfully dating. Now, I bring that up because, um, and what was I going to say? The reason why I bring that up is because I think one of the tragedies with the way that men and women interact with each other nowadays is, I think, I use the term hypergamy, but let's just focus on. I don't like using the word average because to me, average has a negative connotation. But let's, for the sake of argument, use the word average. So I think what has happened today is, because of certain forms of messaging and mind control, you like to talk about mind control. So because of a lot of mind control in today's culture and society, and a lot of that mind control is inherent in the music, um what we have always looked upon as serviceable and average, which is what Kai is describing in her video, man who makes 30K, 35K, 40K, working class guy or whatever, right? So these were always things that were deemed serviceable in previous generations. But now, because of the music and the mind control, those things are now being viewed upon as below average or broke or just not good enough. So whereas a guy who used to make 40 or 50K a year used to be reasonable and serviceable and amicable, it used to be a foundation upon which you can build. Now those guys are not serviceable and they're broke and they're inadequate. And I think a lot of that frame of mind has come from generations of being exposed to the mind control in the music, which says, hey, if he ain't a millionaire, he's broke and he's not good enough. So shoot for the moon and go for the guy who's the millionaire. But as we've talked about oftentimes on this channel, statistically, that's the smallest percentage of the population, which means it's the smallest pool of men. So if you as a woman are shooting for that profile of a guy, you're going to be in all likelihood dealing with a guy who is also dealing with many other women. And even though there are some women who are okay sharing a man, most women at least pay lip service to the fact that they don't want to share any men. Well, if you don't want to share men, don't always go for the guy who represents the top 1 or 10%. But they can't do that because their mind control has convinced them that that the only thing that's good enough for them is the guy who's top 10% or top 1%. So I appreciate Khia for saying, hey, look, let's dial some of this back and have perspective, because perspective is important. And perspective teaches us that, you know, and I hate putting numbers on it because even that makes me uncomfortable, but let's just go with the use of the word average. Average meaning this guy isn't rich, right? So, you know, perspective meaning let's have some perspective. Guys who can work, guys upon which you can build a foundation, maybe they aren't rich, are more than good enough for you. And stop thinking that you only need to make yourself exclusively available to some unreasonable profile, which only constitutes like maybe at the most 10% of any given population of men. And so that's pretty much what I took away from that. I appreciate her for paying lip service to that. Um, I'll I'll give her the benefit of the doubt and assume that she lives by that and she just doesn't talk it, but and preach it, but doesn't walk by it. But nevertheless, um, it's a message that needs to be had. More of it needs to be listened to because it does make sense. And I do think that this type of mentality, I call it hypergamy, where now women are looking at a guy who makes $60,000 a year and they're saying he's broke. I think that's the most ridiculous thing in the world. But there is a sizable percentage of women, and this percentage is growing, who believe that 60K a year guy is broke and not good enough. And that is what I have determined to be hypergamy. It's an unreasonable form of mate selection on the part of women on the basis or foundation of money and income. And if we can pull the reins on some of that back, then I think we'll all, we'll be better for it. So that's pretty much what I took from that. I appreciate what she had to say.
Oh, well, there's a lot of that stuff going on. This stuff that you're talking about, this hypergamy stuff. I mean, it's so much of it. And if I would ask any male here to ask your female friends just a line of questions. It can be female friends, it can be somebody you're talking to, whatever. But just see where their mind's at when it comes to, somebody's income and them cutting it in that person's life. Y'all can be working at the same Walmart. And then you say, hey, man, if he making like 50 racks. Now, granted, if they working at Walmart, they're not making 50. But if you say, hey, if the guy making 50, how you feel about that? She's like, 50? Because in her mind, she's going, I need enough money. He needs to make enough money to take care of me and him. I need 2 incomes from him. So 50, that is broke. That's just one person. I can't live off that. So when you're talking figures to them, they're immediately thinking 100K plus because that's 2 people or more. So she's going, no, I need somebody to take care of me. I don't want to have to do shit. I still want to be independent. Still want my own bank account, but I don't want to be responsible for the house. That's too much work. Well, that's the man's job. He needs to worry about the septic tank, not me. He got to worry about paying to get the roofer to come in here, not me. That's his job. So what's your job? Do you cook? Oh, heavens no. I work. So when you have that mindset going on, that's a lot of women. That is a lot of women. And it's women that you would say, you cool. But she in her mind still, she's like, man, 75, that's cool. But in today's economy, I can't travel with that. Yeah, I can't go nowhere with that. How are we going to buy investment? Yeah, how am I going to buy investment properties and flip them and be a real estate superstar if he's only making 75,000? That can't pay for me and my 2 kids. That's not his. What's going on, dude? So this is a lot of that. But there's average guys that's ready, ready and willing to take on a lot of these responsibilities. And so for Khia to advocate for those guys, I'm here for it. The problem that women have with average men, air quote average men, is that they cheat too. And they have issues with that. And they go, hey, I'm compromising lifestyle and all this other stuff to be with you. So you can't have all this other stuff going on because you can't afford to keep me silent with that. So I'm just going to cut ties and you can't keep me here. Because personally, it hurts my feelings when you cheat on me. Because I'm a woman and I'm egotistical and who likes to get cheated on. So my feelings are going to get. But if you make enough money and you're paying for my lifestyle and my trip to the Burmese and my G-Wagon, then yeah, it hurt. But me waking up in that G-Wagon feels a lot better. So, and this is the part about where I'm feeling where women cheating is an utter fallacy. Because if you're willing to table this such a harsh emotion just because you can live a lifestyle and take a trip somewhere, so you're willing to trade that off, I highly doubt you really care about the cheating at that point. See, we're gonna have to unpack that.
Yeah,
one of these days, because I don't buy it. But the air quote average man, yeah, he's gonna have to be loyal, and that's the problem that the average woman can't deal with. Look, girl, you average. You get an average man. Some guys cheat. If you want higher tier, you have to be a higher tier person. And what that is whatever your tier is, whatever tier you think you are, there's a tier above that. So go strive to be a better version of yourself so you can attract a better version of yourself. It's the only thing I can ask for anybody out there. But as it goes, the street rhetoric right now for most women is like you said, and it comes from the programming, it comes from housewives lifestyle, it comes from all of that stuff that they grew up watching, where they saw these women just having fun and playing,
not having any responsibilities.
None. Yeah. If they had a side business, that was a side piece and a side burner to the show. The show was them just playing. If those women really ran businesses, I would see them in an office doing something very boring, like work, crunching numbers, or having meetings. They weren't doing that. They were sipping mimosas, throwing drinks in each other's face. Yeah. So when you hear that kind of stuff go down on South Beach, where these girls went on a girls trip and they're all down there fighting, where do you think they get that culture from? They get it from housewives. They think they have to go out there to show out. They only learn that from that stuff. Oh, hey, these people in New Jersey, they fly to Mexico City to show their ass in Mexico City. So when you hear these stories going on online where these girls and these girls trips and they get in these situations, well, that's all they know. They're literally no different than the guys on the block selling drugs and shooting people because it was like, oh, yeah, you listen to too much hip hop, young man. Well, this girl out here that's twerking, showing ass, trying to be a housewife, watch one too many VH1s and too many reunion specials of all these reality people. So right on, Khia. It might be falling on a lot of deaf ears, but I think there's some women on the fringe There's some women on the fringe that's a little bit closer to the side of, you know what? I think she's right. I've heard enough. I'm going to give an average guy a shot. Average guys, don't blow it for us, man. Come on, man. Don't blow
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, don't blow it, man. Yeah, I hear all of that. I've really tried to refrain from the word average because I just any context in which the word average is used to describe a man, to me, it's
Mhm.
always come off as negative, especially when you're talking about money. It just seems like it's negative because average denotes that there's something above you and there's something below you. And so I just prefer to look at it as strong foundation. Um, so I've always strayed away from average. But yeah, this whole thing has just gotten way out of control. And we've put other videos on this channel. We've talked about this on previous topics to kind of display the insanity and how much women who think like what Khia talked about are out of their minds when they describe a guy being broke. And this guy's actually not really broke for real, but in their brainwashed mind, a guy like that is broke. It just goes to show you where their mind is and what they equate value to. And you're absolutely right, they never factor in their own income when
No,
it comes to what they can and cannot do via forming a partnership with any guy. They're
sure.
factoring in what that guy's income can do for everybody.
Yep.
It has nothing to do with combining resources and
Nope.
allocating those kinds of fun. It's all about what he can do or not do. And the sickening part of it to me is his reward for coming to the table with those capabilities is just her existence, her presence, no other tangible contribution. And even as much as I can sort of look at them and say it's wrong to think that way, I also to a certain extent can't blame them because I really do think they've been brainwashed
They have.
to believe that that's the way it's supposed to go.
Yes, they have.
They are literally socially conditioned to believe that their existence is what he has to earn through his resources, and after that, that is it. Like that's the golden goose, is just her being there, and that's it. And that to me is sad and it's disgusting. And I do think most of that falls on the deaf ears because when Khia talks about where all of the granddaddies at and my granddaddy this and my daddy that and all of this other
These
stuff,
girls didn't have that.
yeah, they didn't. And she's speaking to an older generation who
Yes.
came up having a more balanced, well-rounded understanding of what constitutes masculinity in an actual man.
Agreed.
So when she's saying that, she's talking to those women. She's not talking to, and I'm a name drop, but she's not talking to Brittany Renner, and she's not talking to, Cardi B, and she's not talking to the city girl. She's not talking to Young Miami. She ain't talking to these chicks. She ain't talking to what's the girl's name who got mad because the rapper wanted to smash for the feature? Lotto. She ain't talking to Lotto. She ain't talking to none of these chicks who
Lotto.
represent a lot of these women today in society. These are these chicks' representations. These chicks who talk about getting a bag, fighting for a penis because that's your purse. And if another woman comes to take your man, it's literally like taking money out of your purse. That was the
That's right.
analogy that
Yeah,
Cardi B talked
exactly.
about.
Very
You
good. Yeah.
know, so like
Mhm.
that's the mentality of not all, but a lot of women today, and it's unfortunate. And so if there's one, like you said, who's on the fringe, who might say, hey, a working class guy, maybe we can still you can still go to Fiji being with a working class guy. You just have to plan it. You just can't hop on the private jet the day of and fly halfway across the world. Maybe you have to, God forbid, request time away from work for a week or two and plan a vacation maybe 4 or 5 months in advance and fly first class. Oh my God, that's so average. But to a
Yeah,
lot of
because
these
that's not spontaneous.
it's not cool and spontaneous and sexy enough. It's not what these ratchet rappers talk about in all their music. And if it's not what these ratchet rappers talk about in all of their music, then it's insufficient. No, I'm not getting on JetBlue or British Airways and flying first class. We need to get on the jet and go right now, halfway across the world, and stay on our own private island. That's what anything less than that is average and insufficient, and that's not good enough for me. And so, it's just it grosses me out and it makes my skin crawl. But to any of y'all out there who might be on the fringes, look, you can still go to Fiji with working class man. He just might have to do it a month or 2 months or 3 months from now when he can clear it. And you guys might
Next
have to
year.
combine a little. You guys might have to combine a little income to make it happen. But I know that's not good enough. That's not good enough for y'all. But working class guy is also probably not going to take his other side pieces on the same trip that he just took you on once he gets back in town with you. So, take that for what you will. But maybe some of y'all will listen. Most of you probably won't, but it is what it is. I still nevertheless think that there's some value in what she had to say, and I appreciate her for it.
Yep. Same here.
Oh man, these I've just gotten away from using some of these words, average and broke, and like what does that even mean? We have to qualify that, but that's a rabbit hole, and that's a whole nother video, I
Yeah,
guess.
it
But
is.
nevertheless, nevertheless, I appreciate you, Kai, for the
Yeah, thanks,
content.
Kyle.
Yeah, on the
100.
channel. 100 for sure.